Today we're going to challenge one of the most common assumptions about reverbs. Long decay does not make big rooms. And once you truly understand why, you'll stop using the decay to make things bigger. Let me show you something. So what I'm going to do here is play the same sound with two different reverbs. One with a short decay, one with a long decay. The first one has a long decay, the second one has a short one. And I'll do the same test with Ableton stock reverb. You're going to see it's the same settings, only the size and the decay are changing here, and with Reverb V3 from Earcam and Flux, because this is a very great algorithmic reverb. Okay, let me play you the audio file. It's my voice, obviously. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Okay, that's the dry sound. So first reverb. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? So I'm going to A/B between them. There's a little trick about reverbs also. If you want to really hear reverbs, a good thing is to start, stop, and so you can really like pay attention to the tail of things. So let's first one, is it A or B? And the second one, the same exercise. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. Let's check this space. What do you feel? Is it the first one that is bigger or the second one? I'm not talking about the kind of lushness or even the blurriness the reverbs is introducing. I'm really talking about the physical size of the room. Which one sounds bigger? The first one. Let's check this space. Let's check this space. Let's check this space. Let's check this space. And with the Earcam reverb. Let's check this space. Let's check this space. What? Obviously, the Earcam sounds much more defined and much more realistic. But so the difference is, the first example, we have a very long decay, but with a short room size. Let me show you that. In Ableton, we had the first one, very short size, but 4.5 seconds decay, very long decay. But the second one, very big room size, but only 1.3, so a third of the length. And the feeling was that, to my impression at least, the room is bigger. Of course, there is a tail, you feel it's decaying for a longer time, but it's much more defined also with this version. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Than with this one. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? And there's also some kind of metallic buildup that is not so nice, but this is because it's Ableton stock reverb. Let's check the same with the Reverb V3. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Do you hear now? With the second option, the room feels really like expanded. The first one feels like narrow. Okay, it's a tunnel. We have some length, but also everything is blurred. Okay, so this is a first example of the difference between room size and decay size. And in the second example, I went even further because, so for the first one, I had a 0.5 seconds decay. For the second one, with a very big room. And the first reverb, I had 4 seconds of decay time with a 12 cubic meter room, very small one. So this very small one feels a bit like a crazy long, very hard surface bathroom. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Well, this one. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Feels more maybe like a big studio, because usually studio times we are above around 0.3 seconds. Here my studio is at 0.2. This is very dry. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? But here how defined it stays, and yet we still have this sense of size. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Between this. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Everything is blurry, everything is mushy, we have no definition, it's getting ugly and we have no clarity whatsoever, and yet it is more confined. Let's check this space. Boom, very big one. So what happens here, and where does the confusion comes from? I believe subconsciously, when we see decay, we think about length, and so our brain thinks size. Well, it's not the case. The decay on a reverb plugin only dictates one thing. It's the time for the sound energy to decay until it reaches 60 decibels below the dry signal. And this is how reverb is measured in acoustics, in real rooms. We have this RT60 value, which means reverb time 60 is the time for the reverb to get 60 decibels below. This value doesn't dictate the size of a room. It doesn't dictate the distance between walls. It is just talking about one parameter, energy loss, or how long this energy survives into the room. And what influences this time? The walls, the ceiling, and the floor, and the materials used for that. If you have a very dry studio, like here, my first example, the sound travels through dampening materials and doesn't come back. And so the energy decays very fast. When you have very hard walls, think about marble or glass, the sound energy bounces back a lot of times. And so the reverb decays for a much longer time. So this decay parameter is just that. It's a kind of first average value of how dampened your room is or how reflective the room is. So if the decay is only controlling for how long the energy persists in the room, it's something temporal. It's not spectral, it's not size. So what are the key markers for a room size? Well, we already talked about this a little bit in the first video. It's mostly the first reflections, the early reflections. Why? Because this is a spatial clue. The longer the room, the wider the room, the higher the room, the more time you'll have for the sound to travel from the source to the walls and to your ears. So the spacing of those early reflections is the first cue for a room size. Let's think real spaces. In a big space, the sound will travel, the direct sound will travel to your ears, and the first reflections will arrive later. And they will be more spaced apart, because when the sound bounces to one wall, comes back to another wall, and then comes back to your ear, the spacing is bigger. The time distance between the reflections is longer. So the structure feels open. Let's check this space. We kind of feel small echoes. And this is giving us the sense of a big room, right? In a small space, what happens is the reflections are very close to us. So the difference in time between the direct sound and the first reflection is much smaller. And also the sound bounces back between the walls in a much faster way. Let me get to the first example and now reduce the room size. I think this is a great way to hear what happens. Let's check this space. Big room. Now let's reduce the room size. Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? Let's check this space. What do you think about it? You hear how the tone is changing. All the first reflections are really like tightly packed together. The structure feels compact, more dense, but it has nothing to do with the tail of the reverb. So to summarize something I already talked a little bit about is, we have first the direct sound, the early reflections, and then the diffuse field. The perception of size is primarily given by those early reflections. And even more, at some point when the room becomes very small, it induces kind of comb filtering, and it's changing the tone of the sound with a spatial radiation, right? Because it's not mono, we have this sense of space, we have this sense of a width. And this is a first nice trick to use reverbs as thickeners of sounds. Another important aspect in this is pre-delay. What is pre-delay? It's the time between the dry signal and the first reflections. In fact, to be more precise, some reverbs offer the possibility to have pre-delay for the first reflections and pre-delay for the tail. But let's keep it simple for the moment. Pre-delay delays just the time the reverb starts to kick in, the time the first reflections come in. And so if you have a very small room, you can't have a long pre-delay because the sound will travel fast from the direct sound to you. But when you are in a big room, then you can have some bigger pre-delay because the direct sound can travel directly to you, and it takes some time for the reverb to come back to you. And here pre-delay then will start to work also as a sound placement from proximity to depth, but more on that later. Let me give you some practical mix implications or mix tips. Usually when producer starts to want to make things bigger, the first reflex is to increase the decay knob of the reverb. What is happening there is the tails are getting longer, and so everything starts to be blurry. Everything starts to be messed up because the tails of everything are masking elements instead of making the room bigger. So it just feels more washed, less defined, but not really bigger. If you want to make size, you must look at the early reflections, at their timing, and at their structure. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about distance. What is making a sound closer or further away? And we're going to talk more about pre-delay and direct to reverb ratio. See you soon for more.